Good day and welcome to Danish News Daily, where royal smiles are polite, but the strategy behind them can be razor-sharp. Today we are asking the question everyone is quietly thinking but rarely says out loud. Is King Frederik's recent diplomatic push a masterclass in modern monarchy, or is it simply a very polished public relations performance? Before we unpack this royal balancing act, do subscribe to Danish News Daily and click the notifications bell icon, because the real story is always hiding just behind the official photo. Let us begin with the king himself. Frederik stepped onto the throne carrying expectations heavier than a crown polished for television lights. From day one, his movements have been measured, deliberate, and just ambiguous enough to keep commentators busy. Every visit, every handshake, every carefully framed speech feels intentional. That alone tells us something important. This is not a king drifting into the role. This is a king shaping it. Now consider the diplomatic trail he has been leaving behind. State visits, international meetings, carefully chosen appearances in politically sensitive regions. On the surface, it looks like standard royal duty. Beneath that surface, it feels more like positioning. Think of it as moving pieces on a chessboard rather than waving from a balcony. The goal is not applause. The goal is relevance. Here is where opinions split faster than a Danish winter storm. Supporters see a monarch who understands that soft power matters more than ever. In a world where presidents shout and prime ministers posture, a calm king showing up, listening, and representing stability can be surprisingly powerful. Frederik's presence signals continuity in a time when many institutions feel fragile. Critics, however, are less impressed. They argue that much of this diplomacy is symbolic theater, beautifully staged but ultimately toothless. They ask whether these visits change policy, influence outcomes, or simply generate flattering headlines. In other words, is this leadership or is it branding? To understand the answer, we need context. Modern monarchy is no longer about issuing commands. It is about influence without authority, impact without legislation. Frederik operates in a space where perception is currency. A royal visit can open doors that politicians struggle to unlock. That does not make it meaningless. It makes it subtle. Think of royal diplomacy like a well-timed smile in a tense meeting. It doesn't solve the problem, but it changes the temperature in the room. Frederik's approach appears to be exactly that. Lower the tension, reinforce alliances, and remind the world that Denmark remains calm, stable, and engaged. Now add Queen Mary into the equation, because no royal power play happens in isolation. While Frederik handles the external stage, Mary anchors the emotional narrative. Her presence reinforces credibility, empathy, and continuity. Together, they present a modern royal partnership that looks less like ceremony and more like coordination. The timing of these diplomatic moves also matters. Frederik's reign is still young, and early impressions last. By stepping confidently into international spaces now, he sets a tone for the years ahead. Waiting suggests hesitation. Acting early suggests intent. Whether you call it genius or public relations depends on how much weight you give to symbolism. Here's the uncomfortable truth many avoid. Public relations is not the opposite of leadership. In modern governance, it is often part of it. The difference lies in substance. So far, Frederik's actions have aligned with Denmark's broader interests, not contradicted them. That consistency is difficult to fake. Of course, the